So hello everybody. If you're experiencing CFS, fibromyalgia, long COVID, POTS and related conditions, you feel like I'm not as exhausted as I was, but my energy does seem to be fickle. I never know how I feel. Then this video is for you. Phase 2 of recovery can be confusing. One moment you're feeling hopeful, you've got some energy, and a bit later your symptoms spike and you think, what did I do wrong? Am I going back to square one? Sometimes all it took for me was chatting for 5-10 minutes too long and I felt exhausted. Can you relate? Let me know in the chat. If you are watching live or the replay, do let me know where you are in the world. So today I want to talk to you, or want to walk you through phase 2, which is regulation. What it actually is, what to focus on so you can build more rhythm, trust and safety instead of staying stuck in boom and bust. So we'll look at how phase 2 feels, the patterns that can keep it going, and the gentle shifts that can help your nervous system settle so you can stop feeling bad, blaming yourself, and start working with your body. I'll talk about what helped me. As always, consider what applies to you, disregard what doesn't. So Jenny's saying hi, Simon. Nice to have you join, Jenny. So if you don't know me, my name is Simon Pimenta. I had ME, CFS and fibromyalgia for around 8-9 years. I was initially in bed, resting and sleeping 18 hours a day. And at times I could not walk for 1 minute without payback. But I got back to life, working, going to festivals, doing sport. What helped me was mind, body and practical approaches. And the content I share is information that I would have found helpful. So if you haven't done, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit the subscribe button, as it helps the channel grow, helps other people find the videos. And if you hit the notification button, you'll be notified when I release a new video. So last week we talked about phase 1. Okay, so phase 1 is stabilization, phase 2 regulation we'll talk about today. So we talked about stabilization last week, today regulation, and in future videos we'll talk about phase 3 and 4, reconditioning and integration. So and actually, just so you know, next week I'm going to be away at a 3-day festival, and so we'll continue with phase 3 in 2 weeks' time. All right, so let's start with talking about what phase 2 feels like. So this is when some capacity returns. So in phase 1, you pretty much haven't got much energy, and you're fairly limited in what you can do. Phase 2, the energy starts to return, but it's not stable. It's like a phone battery that can go flat quite easily. So you might notice that you can do more than you could in phase 1, but crashes happen easily. Those tired and wired feelings, body exhausted, nervous system revved, boom and bust cycles, a better day than a big flare. Anxiety, overthinking, difficulty relaxing. The key problem here isn't just low energy, it's a dysregulated nervous system that's still learning that it can be safe again. So first thing I'd suggest is minding your language. All right. One of the things that helped me in this phase was changing my language. Instead of saying things like, I've crashed again, I've ruined everything, I experimented with, I'm experiencing stronger symptoms or stronger sensations today. That helped, that shift stopped me from catastrophizing and helped me see I was moving up and down a spectrum, not going back to zero. For me, certain words triggered alarm and worry, and that fed back into my body. And often when I've shared that with clients, they say that they find that helpful. If you don't, that's fine. Someone did say to me, actually, I prefer to use the word crash. That's completely fine. Do what works for you. All right. And I'm sharing that because I made a a video on this a while back, and I got quite a lot of pushback from people saying I was kind of gaslighting or minimising the condition. I don't think I was doing that, all right? I was just sharing something that I found helpful, okay? So the real goal of phase 2, I eventually understood that phase 2 isn't about pushing through every time you feel slightly better, getting back to normal as fast as possible. Let me know if you can relate to that. Is that something that you have done up until now? Pushed through every time you feel a bit better? That is certainly something that I did. Excuse me. I think I spent a little bit too long yesterday shouting at a TV screen watching the football. So, phase 2 is about steadying. My nervous system was starting to come out of that full protection mode, but it was still sensitive and it was learning. When something felt even slightly threatening, physically or emotionally, my body, my nervous system would overreact. If I tried rigid pacing and controlled everything tightly, I felt tense. That wasn't the solution. If I expanded too quickly without any boundaries, fear crept in. So Jenny says, I used to do that in the first year of my ME CFS. So thanks for sharing that, Jenny. So what helped was flexibility and rhythm. So instead of asking how much can I get away with today, I started asking what would feel comfortable today? What would I feel 8, 9, 10 out of 10 confident doing today? And we can decide on what number's important based on how fickle or robust you feel. So if I'm feeling really fickle, I might say, what do I feel 10 out of 10 confident about doing? If I feel a little bit more robust, I might say, what do I feel 8 out of 10 confident doing today? And I talk more about that, how to approach activity in sustainable ways, in other videos. So do check out my YouTube playlist on movement, okay? So the next thing is noticing patterns. So phase 2 is where I began to notice patterns more clearly. What drained me? What genuinely regulated me? When I was pushing because I was impatient, when I was withdrawing because I was feeling fear. I started to see how my impatience created those boom and bust cycles. And Isabel says, oh yeah, my perfectionism pushed me too far. My fear made small fluctuations feel catastrophic. Again, let me know if you can relate to any of those. Put 1, 2, 3. 1, impatience. 2, perfectionism. 3, fear. So the work here wasn't about force. It was awareness and regulation. It was about reminding myself of my wildly important goal, which in my case was to be able to go to festivals. That was my goal. All right. So think about that. What is your wildly important goal? Because as I've talked about before, sometimes we get caught up in our mildly important goals. So the thing that I want to achieve now, like maybe tidying my room or cutting the grass or whatever, and my fixation on getting that done means that I'm not doing it in a way that's aligned with my wildly important goal. Because if I was, then I would pause when I felt I needed to. All right. So as I say, the work here wasn't force. It was about awareness and regulation. So Isabel says impatience. Jenny says 2 and 3. Thanks for sharing that. And if you've just joined, do feel free to say hello in the chat. Let me know where you are in the world. So this awareness and regulation, let me just make myself a little bit more comfortable. Give me a sec. This included short calming practices before activity, and I'll share something with you at the end that you can use to help you do that. Pausing before reacting to symptoms and reminding myself that fluctuations did not equal failure. So phase 2 was about teaching my system I can expand in a way that feels safe. And I don't have to get things perfectly right. It's okay if I slip up. That's all part of the learning. And part of the learning is learning to respond to those symptoms with more resilience, more trust, more patience, acceptance, compassion. All right? Sometimes if I chose to go for it, knowing there might be payback, I did that consciously. And then afterwards, I focused on the enjoyment I had, rather than only focusing on the symptoms afterwards and telling myself what an idiot I was for overdoing it. All right. So let's bring it all together and talk about next steps. So as I say, phase 1 is about stabilization. Phase 2 is about steadying things. All right. It isn't about forcing big progress every time you feel a bit better. It's about steadying your system, noticing the patterns, calming the boom and bust, choosing what feels sustainable, not just how much I can get with. To support that, I'd like to share a phase 2 safety script that I've created specially to help you in this tired and wired phase. So you can listen to it now and let the words wash over you. Later, if you'd like to, you can use the text to record your own version in your own voice. And I will share the script, the safety script, so you can do that. Okay, so I will add it below this video. So you can read it, record it in your own voice, or you can simply use the shorter version when symptoms are a bit loud. All right. So I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze, and obviously only close your eyes if it's safe to do so. And just allow these words to land. So something is happening in my body right now. That doesn't automatically mean I've done something wrong. My system is still learning regulation. Fluctuations are part of that learning. I can go at a pace that suits me. I can be patient, accepting, compassionate and trusting. I can cultivate patience, acceptance, compassion and trust. I can slow down and find my rhythm. Steady is what helps my body most. I can breathe. I can soften my mind and body. I can let this moment settle. Progress isn't about perfect days. It's about building rhythm. And rhythm is what helps my system regulate. So I'll share the short version, which is 3 lines. My body is learning regulation. Fluctuation is normal. I can slow down, find my rhythm, and stay steady. My invitation is that you use those, or you create your own version, change the words. And any time you catch yourself bracing or tensing, you can take a breath or a few breaths and just repeat those words slowly or listen to them. By doing that, you're retraining your mind, your body, your physiology. You're retraining your brain into feeling more safety and those other things I mentioned: patience, acceptance, compassion and trust. PACT. Pact. So I invite you to just take a moment to notice how your body feels after hearing that. Feel free to let me know in the chat. You don't have to feel magically calm. Just a bit of a shift is enough. As I say, if you'd like to use that again, I will put the full text of the safety script link below this video, so you can read it, save it, record it in your own voice. So you have a version that feels personal and supportive. You might put it on your phone so that you can listen to it whenever you need. Isabel says, I didn't do nothing wrong, like it. I feel a tiny shift, says Jenny, so that's great. So if this phase 2 video was helpful, let me know in the comments what landed most for you, and whether you tend to be more cautious or too gung-ho at this stage. If you found this video helpful, I'd be really grateful if you could share it with just one person. So if you've got any topics that you'd like me to cover, let me know. See you in the next video. As I say, I will be posting a video for next week because I'll be away, and actually it'll be an interview that I've done with a woman called Felicity. We did an interview that's on my YouTube channel, and this is a follow-up where she talks more about the mind-body approaches that helped her, and it was a really fun video to do, so check that out next week. Anyway, dare to dream big dreams. Keep going, you've got this. Wishing you great health. Jenny says thank you, Simon. You are very welcome. Thanks for joining, everybody. See you in the next video. Bye for now.